Hey there, so a lot of you guys been asking about MagicQuill for ComfyUI, which I'm going to tell you straight up, I love MagicQuill. I think it's an amazing software. A lot of people, they're like, well, it's just inpainting, right? I said, well, right, but Microsoft Word is just word processing. And the point is that softwares get better and better. You get a core technology developed. I remember using, I think it was called WordPerfect on the IBM back in the early days on like these old DOS machines. And that was word processing. But now we have obviously amazing word processor today. And in the same vein, the stuff, this inpainting software we're getting is getting better. And MagicQuill is the next iteration of excellent inpainting. Okay, now I already have the installer. We can already install this as a standalone app, which I prefer, but now we're going to be able to put this into a ComfyUI for some of you guys, and I guess this makes it better. You can do workflows with this sort of stuff. So, that's a beautiful thing about Comfy, right, is that you could actually write stuff to do this, then go to here, and so now you can do that with MagicQuill. So we're going to take a look at this. We're going to get this installed. It's not a very difficult install, although there is a certain direction that it gives that's a little bit confusing, but don't worry, we're going to walk through every step of this as usual. But before we do that, please do like and share. Call up Grandma and say, hey, Grandma, get going fast, and hobble over to your computer and start working on this stuff with me. And I'm sure she'll do that. So, any rate, happy holidays to you all. I do appreciate your support. If you want to get a gift membership for people, go get it, because working on this stuff with others is great. And I'm going to actually throw in the Web Unhindered, which is a fantastic web blocking software that I created and I use all the time. I can't imagine not using it now. So let's get on with scratching my eye and then installing ComfyUI MagicQuill. Yo. Okay, so let's get going with this. Now, here's the deal. We're going to need to have a ComfyUI installation going first, okay? And there's typically two types of ComfyUI installations that we get, and that's the manual one and the direct link where you just extract it. That's called the portable. But here's going to be the issue, okay? Regardless which one you use, okay, we're going to have to install this the same way. So just installing MagicQuill into your portable ComfyUI will not work. Okay, so the difference is that the portable version comes with its own Python stuff packaged with it. So like normally, you got to have Python installed on your computer to run this stuff. Well, with the ComfyUI stuff, it has it all there for you packaged together. That's with the portable one, so that you can just run it, okay? But that also means it comes with its own virtual environment, all this stuff. The MagicQuill installation will not work with the portable. So what we're going to end up having to do, again, regardless of the version that we're using, is we're going to have to go through the manual install, which basically means just creating our own virtual environment, and is going to change up the way that we run the application. Okay, so it's not a big deal, okay, but it's a deal. Okay, so like I said, it's not going to be a big problem. I'll show you how we run it afterwards. But if you've already got a bunch of stuff installed in your Windows portable, you'll just have to run your ComfyUI separately. Okay, so like say I want to use my Flux stuff or whatever other stuff. I'm going to click my normal way I load it, and there we go. Okay, I'm going to use my MagicQuill. It's fine. It's all the same installation, but I'm going to click this other button to get it loaded, and these two things will run in separate environments. Okay, so let's go ahead and get going with that. So if you don't have your ComfyUI installed, you need to go to your browser and type ComfyUI installation. It's going to come up with this one here that says Comfy Anonymous ComfyUI. So just click it, okay? It's going to bring you up to here. Now, like I said, you go down here to installing ComfyUI. You can do your direct link to download, and then all you do is you extract it, and it'll put into a folder, and it'll extract to a folder called ComfyUI Portable. Okay, so regardless if you do it that way or we do it the manual way, we're going to do all the same stuff. Okay, so if you're running manual, what you're going to have to do is you're just going to go to a folder, okay, and then you're going to go into the terminal here. Let's actually walk through it here really quickly. Let me go over here to a staging folder. Let's do this. Let's pop on over to here. Okay, so let's say I'm in this folder here. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to right click here, and I'm going to open this up in the terminal. So it should look like this. See if that pops up for you. Okay, so let's say I'm in here. So what we're going to do to get this thing installed is we're going to click on our browser. We're going to go back over here and we're going to git clone the repo. So to do that, we're just going to go ahead up here and copy the address of the website. Okay, so we'll just click here, go everything to the left of the question mark. Okay, then we're going to go back over to our command line, and what we're going to do is we're just going to type git. Okay, git is the name of an app that pulls down repositories from the internet. If you don't have it, you can just go to your browser and type git download and install it. I also have videos on how to get it installed. So git clone, and then we're going to paste in the browser. So we're calling the application called git. We're saying, what do we want it to do? We want it to clone something. What do we want to clone? We want to clone this repository found at this address. So it's also going to create a folder called ComfyUI. So you'll see it going down there. Okay, it's done. Now if we go back over to our file explorer, you're going to see it created a ComfyUI folder. Okay, so let's go back to our browser real quick. Okay, now you're going to see here it says things like this. Put your SD checkpoints in there. So this is going to be like your models. So watch my video on how to get models. You go to Civitai, and you can download, Dream Booth or Dreamscape or whatever, Reality Vision, all the good stuff. And you're just going to put it in this folder that's found over here. Okay. So okay, you click on here, and then you go into your models, and then you're gonna have your checkpoints. So this is what it's talking about over here when the browser says put it into your checkpoint folders. Okay, where are we at? Yeah, okay. In models, checkpoints, there you go. Okay, and then if you have VAEs, you put them in there. Okay, now the difference here between whether you're running an AMD or you're running an NVIDIA is going to come down to your torch versions. So notice like in NVIDIA, you're going to have torch with CUDA, but notice up here, you're going to have a different torch that's got a particular wheel that works for AMD. So depending on what you're going to use, when we get to this part of the installation, you'll just choose the correct one. Okay, so what we're going to do now, let's go ahead and just set up the rest. I want to show you the rest of this, because it's not going to matter regardless whether you're using the portable or the manual at this point. We need to reinstall ComfyUI into a virtual environment. Even if it's already working with your portable, we need to create a virtual environment that we can use for the MagicQuill. So to do that, let's go back over to here. Now, if you're using the portable version, it's going to say portable ComfyUI, and you'll have like your Run NVIDIA, .bat, blah, 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 blah. Okay, both manual and portable will have this folder called ComfyUI. What we want to do is click into there, okay? And then we're going to right click on it and then open it in terminal again. Okay, so let's go back. It's going to go to a new one over here, and you're going to see it put us in the correct place. So what we need to do is we need to create our virtual environment. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use a Python one for this. Okay, keeps it, what it does, it keeps it local, keeps it with the installation, and it's going to add some space because we're going to be re-downloading some stuff that's already downloaded, but it's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to type Python. That's our interpreter. Our Python interpreter, we're using it as an application. We're saying Python -m. We're saying we want you to run something as an app. Okay, so we want you to run one of your modules as an app, and the name of it is called Vim, and we want you to create a environment named Vim. This environment could be called My Environment, or it could be called Fred, or it could be called Comfy. It could be called anything. This is the greatest virtual environment ever. It could be named that. But then you're going to have to type that in every time. So kind of the standard is to type in Vim. Sometimes people type in env. I like going with that. So what it's going to do, it's going to go ahead and create a virtual environment here in our ComfyUI folder. Okay. We're kind of waiting for it to do its thing. Now it's done. So now we're going to activate it. So if we type dir and we go /AD, what this does is it says, show me the directory of all, or show me a listing of all directories. Okay, so it's only going to show me the directories and not the files. And we're going to see that it created a folder down here called Vim. Oh, you can't see it on here. Hold on, let me make this a little smaller for you. Okay, so you're going to see down here that it created a folder called Vim. Okay, so now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger again because I want you to be able to. Okay, let's do that. Okay. Okay, so now we have that Vim. Now, how this works is inside of that, if I go cd Vim, that means change directory Vim. If I do another dirrad, I'm going to see there's a folder called scripts. And if I go inside scripts, and I type dir, I'm going to see there's a file called activate.bat. And that's how we actually activate the virtual environment. But I'm going to actually go back over here so I can show you how to do this proper. Those dots mean change directory back one folder, and then I'm saying back two folders. So I'm saying go back two folders. Okay, so now we're back to where we actually created, we actually created the Vim folder. So I'm going to use this command called call, which means I want you to run an application. Now I'm going to tell you where it's at. It's in the Vim folder, and in the subfolder scripts, and then the name of it is activate. Okay, now it goes ahead and it calls that application. Now there you go. We're in the virtual environment. There it says Vim. Okay, so what we need to do now that we've activated it, okay, if we're running our NVIDIA, we need to make sure that we have installed our CUDA toolkit. So let's do that really quick. We're going to go Conda. So we got to make sure you got Mini Conda installed. So we're calling the application. We're saying we want you to install something. We're going to give it a -c parameter, which means install something from a catalog. Okay, so the name of the catalog is NVIDIA. So just like if I'm buying something from Amazon, I can look at the Amazon catalog, know what products they have for sale. And I'm looking through there and I find a shiny CUDA toolkit 0.11.8. Okay. I don't think you can see that over there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press enter, and it's going to go ahead. Now mine's already installed. Yours will ask for confirmation, and you'll just press yes, and then it will install. Okay, and it'll install inside your virtual environment. Now what we can do, now if you're running AMD, you didn't need to do that. Okay, but now what we can do, we can pop them back over to our browser. Okay. Now we can go ahead and grab the proper pip install. The top one's the one you want. Notice this says for nightly. Okay, that just means that they're constantly upgrading these things, which means if you want to be on the bleeding edge of what's going on, download that. But we don't want that because those come with errors. They're getting fixed all the time. We want a stable version. So AMD guys, grab this, and NVIDIA peeps, grab this. Now I do want to point out this is for CUDA 12.4. We're going to change that number because we're using 11.8. Okay, so we grab that. Let me make sure I copied it. I press Control-C to copy it, or I can right-click on it and click copy. Now we're going to go back to our command line. Okay, we're going to hit, whoops, we're in the wrong command line. There we go. All right, now I'm going to hit Control-V. And look, this pip here, that is the it's the Python package installer. Try saying that 5 times real fast. It's the Python package installer, the pip. And what we're doing is we're calling the installer and we're saying we want you to install something. We want you to install Torch, but not only Torch, we want you to install Torch Vision. But not only Torch Vision, we want you to install Torch Audio. So we've given it 3 dependencies, and then we're using these parameters, -- we're saying extra index URL. We're saying don't just go out and find any of them. We want you to find it from a particular place. Okay, so it's like saying mom's sending you, she says, go buy some cottage cheese, but don't go to this place to buy it. Go to this place to buy it because I want the cottage cheese from this place, not from this place. And you're like, well, it's just cottage cheese, right? Because no. It's different depending on where you buy it from. So in the same way, we're using this extra index URL to say, get the files, but get it from here. Now, we're going to change that 12.4 to an 11.8 because that's going to fit with what we got. So we're going to hit there. If you're running CUDA 12.4, then use 12.4. But we're using 11.8. Almost all my installations on Windows are with 11.8. On a side note, if you have a bunch of CUDAs installed on your system, which I've seen people's machines, and they've got like CUDA 11.8, CUDA 12.1, 12.4. you gotta get a lane and stick with it, okay? Because those things will conflict with each other. You're only really supposed to have one CUDA on your main system installed. So what I do is with Windows, I keep it at 11.8, and then if I need to do stuff with 12.4, I can use my Windows subsystem for Linux, which is set up for 12. The reason I do that is because the majority of stuff that I use works with 11.8, and I don't want to be changing up my system every time something new comes out. So something will come out, and they'll be like, oh, well, like what happened with this Hunyuan. They're like, well, you can get Sage Attention working, but you just got to install 12.4 and you got to change your Python. And you're like, okay, I'm going to get it all done. But then nothing else works because everything else was set up elsewhere. So it's like, you don't want to be changing your system for one app. Okay, so this is now done. So we've created our virtual environment. And remember, we're still just working on getting our ComfyUI set up here. So let's go back over here. There we've gone ahead and we have installed the torch. Now we're going to go down here and we need to install the requirements. This is all just our basics just to get ComfyUI working. Okay, so I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to copy it, go back to the command line, and same thing. If I type dir, if I type dir, actually I'm kind of curious here. Okay, I'm going to type dir. And it's going to show me all the files, and you're going to see that we have a requirements.txt here. So I'm going to go ahead and pip install. So again, the Python. I said it again. The Python package installer. Pip. I'm going to have it install. I'm going to give it a -R to say I want you to install from a file. The -R means to read. I want you to read the file requirements.txt. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and it's going to go through and it's going to install it all. Download the stuff you need. Now, this is where if we were using the portable version, it would cause us error, okay? So I spent some time looking into it, couldn't quite fix it. I'll spend a little bit more time looking into it. But the way that the environment's set up with the portable version, you will error out at this point, which is why we're just creating another virtual environment. It's not that big of a deal. ComfyUI takes like 3 seconds to load, so we'll just create another load file for each, but not a big deal. Okay, so we're actually done. Okay, now we're in the virtual environment. Now if we want to run ComfyUI, all we got to do is type python main.py. Okay, so py is a Python file. So that's how you can tell a Python file if it ends with py. And Python, we're saying, hey, Python, I want you to run this file. And Python sends us an interpreter. It takes the code, it interprets it into your machine language and all that stuff, and it sends it out to Windows so that Windows can use it. And notice it's now loaded. If we hold the control button and press the click, it will open up to this. There we go. Okay, so there's our basic thing. Now, at this point, it's not going to do anything. This is just your basic image generator because we don't have any checkpoints downloaded. So if you download a checkpoint and you put it in that checkpoints folder like I showed you before, then it will show up. It'll show up over here, and then you can start generating your heart's content. But we don't need this right now. We need to go ahead and get our MagicQuill installed. So I'm going to go over here to command line, and I'm not going to close out the window because I want to stay in here. So I'm just going to press Control C. and that's going to cancel it out. Okay. Now, if I had ran this from a bat file, when I canceled it, it would close. Like if I'd been in my File Explorer and just double-clicked and opened up this window, when it gets finished executing, it would close down. But because we opened this by hand, remember, we right-clicked and we clicked Open in Windows Terminal, it opened up here. So now and then we ran it manually. So now when we close out the server, it keeps us where we're at. So regardless of whatever you do, when you're running this thing, you need to be in this folder, and let's say you have to start all over, you would have to do your call vim scripts activate, okay? But we're already in there. See, we're already in. So now what we're going to do is we're going to shoot forward with installing MagicQuill. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So to do that, we're going to click to our browser, and let's go ahead and do let me make sure you can see this. Okay, you can see that. Let's do a search for MagicQuill ComfyUI. Okay, you can see I typed it there. You're going to bring up this bad boy here, GitHub, MagicQuill. I want to make sure we got the right one here. Okay, so that is the right one. So the one here, MagicQuill Intelligent Interactive Imaging Editing System. And there it says ComfyUI MagicQuill. So this actually isn't that difficult, but there are some big downloads. So what we're going to do is we're going to need to clone this repository. Okay, so this one here, we need to get all these files and get them on our computer. Really easy to do. So we just copy it. Okay. We don't want to hit this thing because it'll copy everything here, but we're just going to copy the one. Okay, now there's a couple different things that we can do. We can go over to this is probably the easiest way, go to your File Explorer. You go to where you installed your ComfyUI. Even if this is your portable version, same thing. You're going to have a ComfyUI folder. We're going to click there. Now you're going to look for this folder called Custom Nodes. Click there. I'm going to pull this down so you can see this a little bit better. Hold on just a second. Let's see if I change this. There we go. Okay. Now you should be able to see this. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to click up here, and I'm in my custom nodes folder. I'm just going to paste in that repository with the words get clone. Okay. And it's going to open up that folder, and look at it, get cloned it for us. So that was the easy way to do it. Okay. The other way you could have done it is just go back to where we were at in our command line, and we would just cd custom _ nodes, and then we would just paste it into there. So same thing. Okay. You do it in your command line, or you just plop that bad boy into your File Explorer and let it do it. Okay, now we're going to go back to our browser, and it wants us to go inside the folder, and then it's going to have us download some models. Okay, so we let's go ahead and cd into that. So here we'll just go back to our command line, and we already did that, cd custom nodes. So now it wants us to get these models. Now I want you to notice something here. This says wget. Okay, wget is a Linux command. So that tells you right now that this is actually written for Linux. In Windows, we're going to use what's called a curl command. Okay, but I'm going to show you probably the better way to do this. Anyways, let's just go ahead and highlight all of this. Okay, forget the wget. That's just kind of an automated way to do it. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes it causes problems, like you don't get the whole thing. So instead, let's just do that. Grab that, go up, create a new browser, hit Control V, and it's going to do this. It's going to bring up a thing for you to save it. So just go ahead and find any location to save it. Maybe like we would go here and go to our staging. I think I'm under here. Put it wherever you want. It doesn't really matter. It's having us put it under here, but I think the only reason is just to keep it all together. But whatever, that's fine. So let's, I'm going to put mine under here under the ComfyUI, under right here at the very top. So just hit save, okay? And it's going to go ahead and download that. Hold on, where are we at? It'll go ahead and download that. So we'll give that a second to download. We'll be right back. Okay, so you're going to notice that the models .zip has shown up. So if we go over here back to our browser, you're going to see that it says it wants us to extract it into the ComfyUI models folder, but it says please merge it. So you're going to see that it actually inside here is a folder called models. And so we're going to have it replace our existing models, but it will keep what's already in there. But we'll show you how to do that. So let's go back to our File Explorer again. Okay, if I go ahead and double click this thing, it's going to bring up a window that looks like, let's just do it like this. It's going to bring up my my WinRAR or whatever I use, okay? And you're going to notice it's got a models folder. Okay, if I click and see, you can see it's got checkpoints, all this stuff. Okay, so let's go back to where it is. So what I'm going to do is click back over to my File Explorer. I'm going to click on ComfyUI, and you can see I've got a models folder here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, well, we could go back like this. I'm going to grab this models, and I'm going to drag it over to on top of ComfyUI. Okay, so it's going to start to extract it there, and you'll notice here in a second it's going to ask us, do you want to overwrite what's already there? Now this is an important step. Ask me how I know. You have to do this before we get to the next part, or else it won't work. So we get the models extracted. I mean, look at that. It's a 29 gig thing, so this is not a small install. All right, let's go ahead and pause this for a second, and we'll come right back when it's done, or when we get to a point where I can show you what it says. Okay, so now you're going to see it. Here's where I was talking about. A destination has 11 files with the same names. We'll just skip these files. No need to do that. So it has gone ahead and it has put the models into there. You can actually delete this. That will save some space on your machine. Let's get back to our browser. Okay, so now the next thing, now we have done this part. We've downloaded, unzipped the checkpoints. We didn't worry about using the wget. That's a Linux command. We could have created a curl command, but honestly, it's just easier just to highlight this and download it manually. Now we need to install the environment. Now this is going to be very important that we're in our virtual environment. So let's pop back on over to our command line. Okay. And we're going to have to be in the right directory, and it says up here the right directory to be in is the ComfyUI / _MagicQuill. So that was the one that we get cloned. Okay, and we can so we're not in there right now. We're in custom nodes, but we can also see we're in the correct virtual environment. So gotta make sure if you're not in the correct virtual environment, you're not gonna work. Okay, so let's go dir /AD. That's going to show us all the directories. And there we go. We can see that there. If you don't want to type it, just highlight it and copy it. Type CD, change directory, paste it in there. Now we're in there. If I type directory star.py, it's going to show me all the files. That's what that star means, that end with py. And we're going to see that we have an install.py file, just like it says here, Python install py. So again, Python is our package, not our package. Python is our command, our interpreter. So it reads Python code, turns it into command, machine language stuff, and makes it work for Windows. So the file that we want to run is install.py, Python install.py. Actually, if you want to see, let's type install.py. Whoops, did I spell that wrong? Oh no, I didn't. I did it. So this is actually what the file looks like inside of there. So it has, so it's going to be calling a different stuff. But anyway, the bottom line, you can see this is code, and what Python install py is going to do is run it. So let's go ahead and clear the screen by typing cls. I'm going to type Python install.py, and so it's going to go ahead and now run it. You can see it's cloning some other folders that it needs. Doing its stuff. Oh, it's done. Easy peasy. Now let's go to our browser. Okay, and now we need to install some more requirements. Okay, so let's Control C, highlight it, Control C. We'll go back to our command line, and now we'll hit Control V. So this is a different requirements file than the one that we did setting up ComfyUI. Requirements.txt is a common file name in different apps, but it all just depends on where it's located, because just because it's got the same name doesn't mean it's the same thing. Okay, so I got a permission denied error here. So that what that means is it wanted me to load this up in a as an administrator. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go here now. What I'm going to do, just for the sake of time, is I'm going to highlight all of this. Okay, all the way down to the D. Then I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Let's open up a new command line window, and if you followed my directions at all, you should have a administrator prompt window. I'm going to go over to my D drive. Now I'm just going to type CD, and I'm going to paste in what I copied. And that's going to put me right back where it is. Actually, that doesn't do me any, because we got to still activate our environment. So forget that. Let's go back to our D drive, or let's go like this. We need to get back to our ComfyUI folder. So let's count how many folders backwards is. It was 1, 2, and then it'll put it there. So let's do this. Let's go. God, let's get this idiot out of the way here. There we go. All right. Let's go cd ... That's going to say take us back 1 directory, take us back 2 directories. All right. Now we're where we created our virtual environment. So we got to remember to do this again. Call vim scripts.activate. Whoops. Good Lord, Jim. Okay. There we go. Now you can see we're back in our Vim environment. So let's go ahead and get back to where we were before. Here, fast way again, I can just type cd cd \, and that'll take us to the beginning. Then I'm just going to go cd and then put that back in there again. All right, I'm going to clear the screen. Now you can see we're back where we were in the ComfyUI MagicQuill thing. So now let's go ahead and we'll pip install -r requirements.txt. Same as before. Pip is the package installer, installs what we're having to do, and we're using the -r for it to read a file. The file's name is requirements.txt. So it's going to run through all of this while we twiddle. This is a good point. If you have a belly button, you're welcome to contemplate on it. Good time for it. In fact, I might pause this because Torch takes a while to install. So this could take you 2-3 minutes, could take 5 minutes longer, whatever. I don't want you to wait. So I'm going to pause it. We'll be right back. Okay, and there she's done. And we're ready to go. So now all we would have to do is run the, what do you call it? The main.py like we did. But there is one thing I forgot to do. So really quickly, before we move forward, we want to add what's called the video manager. Now, if you've already installed your ComfyUI and it's working, you probably don't need to do this. But if we're doing it for the first time, we need to go make sure that we're over here on our browser, and we want to type in really quickly ComfyUI Video Manager. And the reason this is going to be important is because when you're installing new things into ComfyUI, a lot of times it's not as straightforward as you just get cloned the new custom node. Sometimes they don't work, and so you need the Video Manager to fix it. And it does it fast. I mean, it's really incredible technology. So you look for this one from Leader Data, not Lederhosen, but Leader Data. Okay, and click it, and all we're going to do, if you scroll down here, it says installation method. Go to your custom nodes folder, and then just git clone this. So let's just do this. Let's copy this, highlight it, copy it. Let's just go back to our file explorer. This is the easiest way to do it. Get into our ComfyUI folder, custom nodes, and then same thing as before. Let's just paste that command with the git clone, and it's going to go ahead and do it. And then you'll notice that now we have Comfy Manager. Okay, so now we're ready to go ahead and run this thing. But let's make really quickly a bat file that will help us to run this easily. So let's do this. Let's put this up. I'm going to make this a bit smaller again so that you can see everything. I know that It's kind of difficult sometimes because the text is so small. But for this, we need it. Okay, so let's go ahead. Notice this, the file that we need to run is this one down here, main.py. But to do so, we also have to make sure we've activated our Vim. If you're running the portable installer, you would already have a button over here outside of your ComfyUI folder that says run NVIDIA or run CPU or whatever. So you still would need to do this because that's going to load your other virtual environment. So regardless of what you're doing, we need to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click and go new, and we're going to click text document. Okay, and let's just call it, well, I don't know. You call it whatever you want. You can call it Run MagicQuill or we'll call it Run MagicQuill. Call it whatever you want. Whatever makes the most sense to you. But you need to give it a .bat, okay? Oh, doggone it. Hold on. I screwed that up. I was trying to make that easier for you to read. But, okay. So just call it, we're going to call it Run MagicQuill. And you need to give it a .bat. Because what that means is that it, when you click on it, Windows will run it. Okay, and it'll run whatever command there. But now to add anything to it, we need to go ahead, right click on it. Let's just do it like this, I guess. This is my least favorite way to screen share, but let's do this. Let's right click on it and we'll go edit in Notepad. So it's going to go ahead and open up a new file. Okay, and in here, we're going to give it the commands. This is basically the same thing as working in a command prompt. So we're going to say cd ComfyUI, so it's going to change directory into the ComfyUI folder. Then we're going to say call vim scripts activate. Okay, so that means it's going to activate the virtual environment, and then we're going to say Python. I think it's called main.py, isn't it? Main.py, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a cd back. So when the whole thing exits, it'll go back to this folder. I don't know if that's necessary or not. If you want to, you can put a pause in here, so then when it's done executing, the screen doesn't close on its own, and you can take a look at whatever you want. So I'm going to hit Control S. Whoops, I'm going to hit Control S. Close that thing out. Now if we go ahead and click Run MagicQuill, it's going to do it all for us. It's going to go into our ComfyUI. It's going to activate our virtual environment, and it's going to load into our browser. So notice you can tell you're doing right if it shows your NVIDIA card. Okay, this is important. It's loading your checkpoint shards. To tell you the truth, that might be a reason too why you want to install this separately, because it does slow down your ComfyUI install. But now we can left click that, and it's going to open this up. Now, notice it still opened us up to our image thing. We need to open a workflow. So let's click on Workflow, Open. Okay, so what we're going to do is we got to find where we installed this thing. For me, it was here in this new folder, ComfyUI. You got to go to your custom nodes. This is where we downloaded it. Okay, there's your ComfyUI MagicQuill. Now you're going to see this, magicquill.json. So a JSON is a structured data. It's a way of formatting data. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click on that, and notice it suddenly made our MagicQuill come up. So here we go. Now we're in. You can see that it's got, if we left click over here, you can see the different models that you can use. Here we upload an image. So let's go ahead, and this is one of my favorite ones to work with. So we've got Chickley here. Let's go ahead and remove the hat. Okay, and I'm going to go remove hat, and then I'm going to hit this Q button down here. Okay, so it says didn't find that. There we go. Okay, so it didn't have that one model there, so I just clicked it over to Dreamshaper. Sometimes these JSONs, they're looking for a very particular spelling. Okay, so it didn't remove the hat. But anyway, sometimes it's looking for spelling, so if it's not working, just click the arrow. So it didn't remove the hat, but let's do this. let's try it one more time. But you can see anyways it's working. Let's get all of her hair. Let's see if we can make her bald. Anyway, you guys can play around with this, and you saw how fast that worked. Yeah, that's too funny. Okay, and then if you want to keep it, you just press the little arrow there, and then what I would probably do here is then just go around and remove all that stuff. So there you have it. We have installed ComfyUI. We could not use the portable version for this, so you've got to do a manual install. But even if you have the portable, it's okay. You can just add another virtual environment to it, which we walk through. Got the downloads, git cloned everything, installed our torches, and we ran it. We created a bat file for Easi Run, and now you are in inpainting paradise. Again, this is going to be best for workflows where you've got other stuff that you want to run into here. That's just the power of ComfyUI, is I could have other stuff that flows into this. To be honest, the app itself I think is just easier to use. If you're a beginner, just go over to the Patreon site, patreon.com/CogniBuild, and just get the standalone one, okay? And it actually works a lot easier than the ComfyUI. But again, if you want to do the ComfyUI, then I have shown you how to do it. And you can also actually get a quick install over on the Patreon site for that as well. So you get buy one post, you get them all, or join as a member, you get it all for free. So all right, well, I'm going to leave you there. You guys be good. I hope everything's getting ready for you in Christmas and you're feeling happy and all that good stuff, and we will catch up with you later down the road. Yo.